Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday. Once again, this is February 8th, and my name is Ken Close. I'm super happy to be here chatting with you guys about some fun technical things that you might need to have resolved. So if you guys are new, hey, welcome, first of all. If you're old timers, been here a while, that's awesome. I so appreciate you coming back. Hopefully we will unpack some things that you can learn from. If you are new, here's what we do. Here's how it works. We are going to put the questions in the chat, and then we will live unpack them and solve them in real time. So I've got an amazing co-host, Jake Barron from Healy America's Operations is here on the line with me.
Hello, everyone.
Jake. Hello, hello. And we have Miguel from the customer service department in the background that is going to be also doing some assist. So keep an eye out for the Healy tech support in the background, helping you guys out, answering some questions. So, and then I believe Freddie's going to be joining us this evening as well for a little while.
Yeah,
so,
he should be here soon. So.
Awesome. So look forward to Freddie. He's always a great help too. So let's get this party started.
All right.
I want to make sure that everybody knows what we can talk about is the technical things regarding the hardware and the software. Okay, so the HealAdvisor Analyse app or the Healy app, pink dot and blue dot, as well as say the hardware connections, that kind of stuff. We love to be able to unpack things, whether it be even things on theory, in other words, theory of operation, or even things tangible that you may be struggling with. What we aren't going to be able to cover is anything that's around diagnostics of a medical condition, any disease, disorder, or anything within the body. And then, of course, not being able to talk about any of the relative programs for those disorders. Okay, so we're not here to treat, diagnose, or talk about medical issues. All right, so as long as that's all clear, let's get started. We already have the chat lighting up, so thanks a lot, you guys. Sharon already says right here, please help with the BOGO setup. Okay, let's get more specific about that. But I know that the buy one get one free, 2 devices have been shipped out, right? That's awesome. Yeah. People are getting 2 devices for the price of one, and sometimes one of those devices may not be activated, right? Maybe one links up, syncs up, and operates really well. The other one maybe not. Jake, you want to tell them about what was going on with that?
Yeah, so Sharon, put some more information in the chat here of what exactly you're trying to get set up. Because, yeah, as Ken mentioned, early on in the month, we discovered there was some issues where the second device wasn't being activated. But we went back and we activated all those, and going forward from that specific date, we made sure that those were activated. But let us know if it's an activation issue, or if you're trying, say you have 2 and you're trying to just know, how do I put them both on my account, or put them both on my phones, or how do I use them both with one phone, or one with a phone and one with a tablet, or maybe you're trying to transfer it to someone else in your family. So let us know in the chat here what exactly you're needing assistance with, because there's lots of different scenarios.
Yeah, let's use the chat, folks, so that we can, because again, like I said, Miguel's in the background helping out as well, and may even answer your question before it even gets on live. So please use the chat. I don't want to go live on here with the audio, so that we can keep things moving. All right.
Hey Ken, this is Freddie. Just want to let you know I finally got in.
Hey Freddie.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
So we are already opening up the chat, and there's the first question Sharon had was about the buy one get one free devices that were coming out, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. So yes. Remember that 2 devices, both devices are owned by your account. Every Healy account gives all the rights to the function of whatever you purchased. Okay, so that's key, number 1. And then also there's another amazing tool that Jake started and Freddie supports, and then I in there every now and then, which is the Healy for Beginners and Beyond. Those are recordings on YouTube, as well as they're listed on the Telegram page. All of the different recordings are there that you can go by and just take a look at one of the unboxing protocols, or those calls. Man, a lot of great information about the basics and how to get started. So there's lots of resources out there, folks. Please use those resources because you can pause them in real time. You can rewind and you can look at it again and take notes. This is really important for your own learning so that you get a really clear understanding. Okay.
Hey, Ken, just to piggyback off of that too, let's remind everyone about the Healy, or excuse me, academy.healy.world, because again, there's a lot of great basic videos. There's also the FAQs in there that could potentially answer a lot of questions, especially it looks like we got some new folks and they're bringing in some new folks. So that's another great resource.
Exactly. I know when I first started, oh my gosh, I was digging into everything I can get my hands on. And I spent hours upon hours learning. And again, that's why we're here now, being able to give that same knowledge to you guys. So let's see. Carly has a question here about placement. Now, this is a back office thing and a business thing, but I like this question. Does the placement of the Healy matter? Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about something else. So does the placement of the Healy matter, like on your shirt, on your belt, whatever? So let's look at that for a moment. So if the Healy, now there are some very specific programs within the Healy regiment called the protection program, or actually they are the, they've renamed those. Guys, help me out. The new name is, hang on a second.
Which the protection one?
Yeah, they're now named something else.
Was it defense?
Defense. Yes, defense. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. They are the defense. It's the defense page. And on the defense page, there are programs that shows you. So when you are loading the program to the Healy, your app, or prior to that loading, your app shows you how to connect the Healy to the body, right? And then if you'll notice in that particular page, when you click on that one, it just shows you with the Healy either in your shirt pocket or maybe on your belt. Okay. So what that means is those particular programs, well, let me clarify, not just those programs, but many of the microcurrent transmitting programs do the same function I'm going to explain. The Healy itself, the Healy hardware, has a noise generator, AKA frequency generator. It's a little transmitting device. And when the system is on and it's running its protocol, and if you're connected with the leads to your body, then those frequencies are piggybacked on a microcurrent signal that goes into your body, okay? Whether it be the leads, or if you've got the coil connected, the coil transmits a magnetic energy with those frequencies piggybacked, okay? So when it's microcurrent, it's going directly through the leads into your body. At the same time, simultaneously, out of the noise generator, which is located on the clip side, underneath the cabinet, on the clip side of the Healy, simultaneously, it's transmitting a omnidirectional signal of the same frequencies. This is how you can see on that defense page, they're just having you put the Healy in your pocket. Why? Well, because that omnidirectional transmitted frequency signal is going into everything within its proximity. What's in its proximity? You are, right? Because the Healy's on your body. So that's happening. Specifically, the defense programs are designed to use it that way. But also, if you're running anything with the microcurrent, it's doing the same function. So your question about where is placement important? If you're connected to the microcurrent, not really, but you're going to get a twofer, right? This is a twofer when you have the Healy close to your body and you're getting those signals into the body from the Healy hardware itself. But again, simultaneously, it's going out of the leads into your body via microcurrent. If you've got the coil attached and you're using that function, it's not so much a twofer anymore, because the magnetic radiation of the energy is amplified by the coil anyway. Okay, so you're going to get it. And wherever you place the Healy, here's my advice. When you're running the coil, and you're running, let's say, something from the mental page, I say, put it closest to where your brain is, right? Why? Because that's going to be the maximum amplitude of the signal is right here in the proximity of the hardware. So you want to get maximum amplitude, put it on your body where you want that to happen. Okay. Anything you want to add, guys?
No, I think the only thing I may want to add is when you're using the adhesives, right? And a program that is calling for the adhesive use, then it is going to be specific locations, and placing those about 6 inches apart is what we'll want to look at versus the wristbands, which are going to be on the wristbands. And I spoke to someone today, they have a metal part in their wrist. So they put one wristband on the wrist and the other one on the ankle. So it serves the same purpose.
Absolutely. And so these are the little sticky pads. If you guys can see these on the camera, these are little sticky pads that Freddie's talking about. They just peel off and they attach to the body. These are adhesive style conductive silicone material so that the microcurrent will transmit directly into the body via the skin. And what Freddie said there, I had a question the other day about someone had titanium implants in their back. Now, titanium is less conductive than regular metals, whether it be stainless steel, aluminum, and other metals, but it's still classified in the metallic arena. So it's still under the contraindicators of do not place the electrodes near any metallic material. It actually says metal, but I would say it should say metallic implants within the body. So keep them away. So let's say in that particular case, they had implants in the spine. And there's pain, say in the lower back. Okay. Sometimes it's right around the spinal area, but you can go to the left or to the right within that area, and just being about 4 to 6 inches away from that metallic material, and the electrodes being on the opposite side, because here's what happens when you place the sticky pads. The current is flowing from pad to pad into the body, from pad to pad. Okay. So if it's on each side of the metal material in the body, it's going through the metal. You don't want that. Okay. So you make sure you put your pads in this pain area. You can put it top to bottom even, but as long as it's not going through the metal area. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. And I want to make sure that we clarify that titanium needs to be classified as conductive metallic material, far less conductive than anything else, but still within the same arena.
Hey, Ken, let's piggyback on that a little bit because, the concern too, if someone say has a stent, right, and it's a metal stent that's put in, that same answer would apply there, right? We want to put it not the sticky pads, and then the same thing would apply with the bracelets, right? So you wouldn't want to put the bracelets on because that stent could be affecting that flow as well, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So we got to think wisely in regard to, just look at it this way as you're running power through a cord, an extension cord, right? Or power cord. And the cord or the pathway for this power is between the two electrodes, whether it be the wristbands or the sticky pads. That's basically the current flow is between those two areas. If you're running current flow through from one point to another point through metallic material, that's not okay. We don't want to do that. So yes, as Freddie said, anything that's an implant that's metal, because stents are a lot of times, some are plastic, but just know what you got in your body. Okay. All right.
All right. So we're going to go back to Sharon's question earlier about BOGO, because she put some more information into the chat here. So her question was, she's going to share this device with somebody else, and she wants to know, do I need to set up that device or a separate master key for her, or is that not necessary? So in this situation where if you have a BOGO, you can share the device with somebody if you just want to use it, give it to them in demo mode. But in this case, I'm assuming you want them to have their own account. This isn't a temporary thing. This is a permanent thing. So let me show you real quick. I'm just going to share my screen and show you how exactly you would go about doing that. So let me go ahead here. Okay. So, so what you're seeing here is the referral link. So if you go to your back office, click My Tools from the menu, and then My Links, you'll see the referral links for each of the shops. So this is a test account that we have. This is a referral link for the US shop. So if you go to a browser, put this in, this page comes up first. So if you were doing this, you would send this link to the person that you're sharing the BOGO device with. they click yes, this is my refer. Then you go all the way down to the bottom, and then underneath join us, you're going to click registration. And that's going to take you to a page where they can pick, do they want to become a Healy World member, or if they want to just continue as a customer. They pick that, they type in all their information, agree to the terms and conditions, and then that will create an account for them. And then at that point, they have their own Healy account. And what you'll need to do is that since you have 2 devices, you go to your support center, and I can show that here in a minute, submit a support ticket and request a device transfer to the new person whose account was just created. That will transfer the device to them, and then they will set up their device as new on their own account. They'll have their own master key, and the 2 devices that came together will be, completely separated now. One account for the person you're sharing with and one account for you. So that seems like what you're trying to accomplish here, and that would be the steps to do that. Freddie or Ken, anything to add on that?
Well, I was just going to say, I just had this discussion with someone earlier today, so I'm glad this was brought up. They may be here tonight, I'm not sure. But yes, this gives you the ability, and this action needs to be taken first, whether they're going to be a customer or a member, before you can successfully transfer that device over to them. They have to have the account for that successful transfer to happen.
Yep. And then also there was while I have the shop page up, there was a question here. Someone took advantage of the 50% off the upgrade offer, which is of course an amazing deal right now for these next 2 weeks here in February. And the question was, if the 50% off upgrade to professional, does that include the Power of 3 and Success Coach modules? And yes, it does. This is a regular professional. It's not a limited version of the professional, because it is 50% off. So one way that you can check that as well, while I have this up here, if you go to shop and then app modules, which is where you would have gone for this upgrade, and we'll just select, oops, what did I click? Click the wrong thing. Upgrades, not app modules. All right, here we go. So let's say you did the upgrade from residence to professional. If you click order now, it's going to take you to a more detailed page on the professional. And then if you scroll down, you'll see here the Power of 3 is included right here. And then also the HealAdvisor Success Coach module, which Success Coach includes both personal and success. So just because it's not listed separately there, the Success Coach is the one that includes both. So if you ever are in doubt of what an upgrade includes, a device includes, you can always go to this page here on the shop just to confirm and double check everything. So
awesome. I love that resource too. That's a lot of these details are available out there. Just again, it's just finding them, right? And Sharon says that she'd already set up an account for her, which is great. So that means that the next step, of course, is assigning that device to her account. She's going to need to log into her account. She doesn't really have to do anything, right? I mean, as far as the new person, but Sharon's going to need to assign that device via serial number, and that's done again on that shop page that Jake was just on. You want to show them where that's at, Jake?
Yeah, let me pull up the again.
Because there's actually a specific protocol in the setting up a ticket that shows you how to transfer a device, because you'll need to put the serial number in there. There's some details, and it kind of expands like a flow chart to help you get there. Okay. All right.
So while you are all doing this, just because you created the account, she's not gonna be able to log into the device or use the device because there's nothing linked to her account yet. So that's the part in the support center that we were referring to here. So
right, that transfer, and I think a lot of folks need to understand, Jake, is that we have compliance and we have legal that has to be notated, or a reference, which is going to be the documentation where the owner of the device is requesting that transfer. That person that is transferring to, right, they being a member now gives that flow, right, as Ken likes to refer, I love it, that flow in there that makes everything very easy to document.
Okay, so I have this is the shop, the us.healy.shop. I logged in. I clicked the link here, support center. And then if you go, when you're creating this new topic, I'm doing submit a new case. For this particular one, if you select orders as the main topic, and then for the subtopic, you'll see device transfer right here. So if you select that, it's going to ask for some additional information. You'll pick the serial number. If this was your first device or your first BOGO, you would have 2. Some people will have more than that, but you pick whichever one that you're wanting to transfer, and then just put the details put the subject, device transfer to new user, new member, customer, whatever. And then in the description, make sure you include, again, also the serial number that you're transferring, the new member's name, email address, phone number, and username if you have that. As much information as you can in there, and then it's a quick process from that point on. So.
And one little side note, where it says order number over there, yeah, that doesn't. We don't need an order number in this case.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. So there's a question here about, would be nice to have a PDF or some kind of things in words about getting a new person started. So I did put in the chat. Of course, we've got the Healy for Beginners and Beyond, which is great episodes there to give different content. There's different, actually, the shows are a bit different. The calls are a bit different. And there is a hyperlink. They're on YouTube, by the way, folks. So you can go to the Healy Americas.
So by one announcement there, we created, we have a new redirect for that page. If you go to HealyAmericas.com, it goes straight to our YouTube page now. So much easier to share for everybody. I'll put that into the chat here as well. But
there you go. Yeah, and subscribe to the channel, by the way, everybody, and click on the little notifications tab. So when the new stuff comes in, you'll get notified. But what's in there, again, is different episodes that give you unboxing, but then also tells you in the notes, the chat notes there, or the note section underneath one, specifics that are covered on that call, because there are different specifics. Another resource is another URL that's mydevicehelp.com. So mydevicehelp.com it's over 5 hours of content separated by the Healy app, aka Pink Dot, and the HealAdvisor Analysis app, aka Blue Dot. And I mean, it's also hyperlinked. So things about master key, or things about loading the app, or things, all that is categorized there. And you can go directly to any one of those things that you are struggling with, or grab a bag of popcorn and watch the whole 5 hours. I'm just saying. And the cool thing again about that is that you can pause and you can rewind and you can take notes. This is important. The important part, it's really easy to ask a question, but until you process it with your mind and get a little more depth around the cognitive understanding, it's probably not going to solidify until you actually do it. Right. So it's important that you're able to use those resources and get in there and take those notes.
Ken, that is such a huge valid point. I just want to hammer it home a little bit harder. See, because you have the ability to play and stop and play and stop. So you get to an issue. Let's use that master key. Watch that video, then go take action. And then if you didn't happen like you wanted it to, or maybe you missed a step, rewind and start over again. Right? That's the blessing of having all of these tools, so that you can go in there, you can press play, get that knowledge, take action. And if it doesn't come out with the results you're looking for, rewind and start over again, because you're not going to break it. Right?
Yep. Yeah. It just makes you more valuable in your understanding and less frustrated in your life. I'm just saying. Right.
Exactly.
So let's see. And then there's another little follow-up about the placement of the Healy device on your body when you're running it in the microcurrent. So the question is one about, can you clip it to your glasses when you're running your mental? You know what? I have a headband here, and I'm not afraid of putting my Healy right here in my headband. Look at this. I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid of doing that at all. I mean, watch me walk down the street looking like this, right? I'm okay with that. So my point is, you're not going to hurt yourself.
So is that the new native Healy American headband there? I love that.
That's right. I'm going to put it. Yeah, I'm going to decorate it with little flowers and whatever, feathers. Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
So there's another question I came in from Carly, and I know we've addressed this on several calls, but it's I think a question deserving another answer. When you run a scan in the Blue Dot app and receive a list of programs, does it make a difference if you run the programs in the order of the highest priority?
You know, can I unpack that, or do you want to unpack that?
No, I want you. That's why I wanted to make sure we got that one. You did a great job of unpacking this one.
So, okay, think about this for a moment. We can decide subjectively to do anything, right? We're going to take a left instead of a right. We think this is a shorter route than that. We can eat this cereal versus that cereal. We can subjectively make decisions, and I love that. It's useful. But Healy is an objective observer. Okay, it doesn't take into account a personality, an ego, a behavior pattern, none of that. Okay, it just says, here's the information coming directly from the information field. Well, this is the quantum field, folks. This is basically the tiny of the tiniest. All right, this is not anything to do with our minds, but a collective mind. And understand the power of that. Now we're taking into account what we know, but also what's collectively known as a consciousness. That's a lot. All right. So if we understand that what you and I see with and feel and taste and smell with our senses, that sensory input is 2,000 bits of information. If we were to measure it, 2,000 bits of information that we're aware of consciously. What the reticular activating system, in other words, the main subconscious processor is aware of is 400 billion bits of information per second. Now, 2,400 billion. You can see my arm stretch way out. I can't go far enough. That's a lot of difference between what's just in the subconscious and the conscious. Now let's tap into the main consciousness of everything. There's where Healy operates. Do you see the vastness of the information field that's available? And you think that you can make a better decision? I would say, let's let Healy do its job and use it in the priority in which it's given, right? There's a very specific priority, and it's outlined by the percentages. The higher the percentage, the more relevant in your life, or the more relevant to you. The lower, and so on. Okay. So anybody want to add to that?
Love that explanation.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So here's a question too. And you know, again, I love this coming in from Susan. Can all programs run on several Healys? I have several residents and one professional. It seems all programs run on the professional, but not on the residents. And there's a reason why, right? So the residence edition has specific programs that is dedicated just to the residents, and the same thing applies for the professional. So yes, the professional is going to have all of the programs, and that's why you're able to run all the programs that professional offers, and the residents are going to run all the programs that they have. Pretty easy, pretty basic.
Yeah, it's all based on the serial number. So when you purchase a device, the serial number is logged into your purchase. If you purchase a gold, you're going to have the benefits of the gold assigned to that serial number. The hardware is assigned and allocated to the purchase. And so therefore the programs available to that edition will be scanned by the app. This is the brilliance of how the app works. The app has endless capabilities, but where its partnership is the Healy hardware itself, and that's signified by the serial number. So when you scan the serial number of that particular hardware, it's linked to a purchase, and then all the features that's assigned to that purchase. And the app is only going to unlock those particular programs. Okay. So it makes sense. I mean, it's brilliant. I love it. That way you can buy what you want to buy and not get more than what you need. Right. Okay. What else?
Here's a person, excuse me if I mispronounced, Anja, and they're talking about scanning and the results that they're coming back, and they list bioenergetic support shows 107, over 100, and then someone else comes in and says that it's bringing up 148, 133%. Why is that happening, Ken?
Yeah, that's a flaw in the app, by the way. You know, you're not going to be over 100%. So the app is having a bit of a calibration dysfunction. So you need to shut it down, hard close it. Don't just stop the program, hard close the app. So if you don't know how to hard close your app on whether it's Android or iOS, there's a YouTube for that. You can go and look at YouTube and look up hard close, and that's a good word, hard close an app for my iPhone or my Android, whatever. There'll be a video showing you how to do that. Hard close it and then reopen it and do it again. If the problem persists, it's quite possible that there is a flaw in the program itself. The actual app has some kind of a dysfunction. That could be whether it was, you know, I get this a lot. People go, well, how could the app get broken? Well, there are things within the processor of our smart devices that it's possible for another app to write over the top of some of the memory location of another program. It's not normal, it's not common, but it's possible. And especially if your device is running really low on memory. So if your device is being, like, you have pictures and apps and a lot of things going on, and the memory of your device is consumed more than 75% of its total, then it's possible for some of these overlaps. And so if that happened, it means that your Blue Dot app has been corrupted. Delete it. Now, let me clarify before you delete, folks. Be sure to back up your content. In other words, sync your Blue Dot app, and that's done from in the Blue Dot app, the little gear at the bottom right of your screen. Click on that, scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a full sync function. All right, do the full sync so that then all of the material, all of your lists and clients and everything are backed up to your Healy cloud through your master key, which is a 4096-bit encrypted code, safe as heck, you know. All right, everything's backed up, and then delete the app and reload it. Okay, go to your app store and load it from there, and make sure that the latest version is used. So then, you know, then test it again. If you still, there was some rare occasions, gosh, months ago, where this was a problem, and even deleting the app, it had to be done more than once before it finally rewrote. And I think here's a problem too. Well, not really a problem. Here's a condition with Android, is that unless you delete it and shut your phone off. Well, the same with, I would do this with iOS too. Delete it, shut your phone off, and start it back up. Some of the memory locations are still being utilized by some of the data. And so it refreshes essentially all the memory locations and where apps typically live on the smart device. So that shutting off and back on process is another step. Okay.
So great advice, Ken. And I want to also mention that before you go in, if you have to go in and delete that Blue Dot app, you want to make sure that your master key is backed up, because when you delete and reinstall, it's going to now ask you to import it. And if you're not saving it to the drive of your smart device, and I always suggest to back it up to an email that you have access on that smart device, so that if something happens and you go to import it and that file doesn't show up, right? So if you're an Android, maybe it dumped into your G drive, your Google Drive. On the Apple, it could be your iCloud. You just need to become familiar where you saved it initially and where you backed it up. That way, when you ask to import it, if it's not there, you know where to go find it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point. First of all, do that. I mean, that's kind of a critical thing right there, that master key. Stan has a great question. Oh, go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention too, why that's so important. Because if you don't have access to that master key, and let's say you've been enjoying the benefits of your Blue Dot app, and it wasn't saved where you can retrieve it, it can't find it. Unfortunately, you only have one other option, and that's going to be to reset the cloud. And if you have data, right, your scans, your auras, and that sensitive data, yeah, all of that, it is lost, right? It wipes it out. It's like starting all over again. So that's why it's important to save that and back up your master key.
Absolutely. I like this question from Stan. He says, if I run the sleep programs to different people by distance, doing the distance sending or transmitting, will it affect my sleep as well? And so this is a great question. I love this question because what we were just talking about, that you're running programs remotely. And when you're doing it remotely, you're activating the noise generator, the frequency generator device. But it's sending them to a very clear intention or target downrange, aka a client. Remember though, these frequencies that are going out, this is a study of over 500,000 different applications, right? And through over 2,500 practitioners with the parent company TimeWaver. And they have used this system, and Nuno Nina is the orchestrator of a lot of this data. And they've used this system to find the most effective frequencies for whatever the condition is. Now, this is a condition within the human, or I should say within the consciousness, a condition. And so there's really not a frequency that's going to harm others or disrupt others because they're coherent frequencies. But when you're looking at one individual, so in other words, the Blue Dot, and you have a client out there, and that's where the analysis was based on that client. And then the frequencies were chosen based on that client and that analysis. So those are the most optimized frequencies for that one person. It doesn't mean that those frequencies are incoherent with you or incoherent with me or incoherent with anyone on the human spectrum. So can they affect you? Sure. If you need them as well, or in other words, if those frequencies will help align conditions within you, then your body will absorb and use them if they resonate. If your body doesn't need it, it's like, it's not really going to ignore it. It's just not going to use it. So, so can they affect you? Yes, they can affect all of us. They can affect me. So thank you for running those programs or those frequencies into the field. When we get 100 million Healys running, guess what that's going to do for the overall consciousness of the humans or this planet, right? We're getting there.
Yep.
All right. Hopefully that helped. Anything you guys want to add to that?
No, excellent as always.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Okay, so these next couple ones, I think we've covered already regarding the 50% off, what comes in professional, the BOGO transfer, device transfer. Question here, is there a list of all the programs thus far somewhere? So there is a list of programs in back office in the download section. It's not every single program, but there's about 100 of them listed on that document. So that's certainly a good starting point if you're interested in the core program groups. And there's certainly additional ones that haven't been listed here yet, as far as Power of 3 and some of the other ones. But if you haven't looked at that document yet, that might be 90% of what you're looking for there.
Yeah, it is a good resource. One of the things in the United States, and there's benefits and then there's drawbacks. FDA kind of helps us hold back on some of the things that we can say, because what Healy can do and what we can talk about in the US versus say same thing it can do in Europe, but they can say different stuff. So, so we just, maybe people in other countries, you can gather some of their data, but just know that what we can say in the US is what's in the back office right now.
Yep.
Oh, here, Tom, I want to address this real quick. Sorry, Tom said in regard to the defense programs, when you're running them, it shows a black indicator on the progress bar. And yes, that's normal. Okay, that's normal. Remember, the black indicator is simply measuring the conductivity between the positive and negative ports here in the Healy. And if there's nothing plugged into them, right, there's no conductivity. There's no current flow between those two pins. If you have wires connected to your body, then there's going to be current flow. Well, it's measuring to see if there is or if there's not current flow. And it's just basically, it's just measuring a threshold. You're either above the minimum threshold or you're not. It's not really giving a number. It's just a threshold. So when you're running the bioenergetic defense programs, it's not asking you to connect the leads to your body. So it's going to measure a black indicator. It does not mean it's not still being effective. It's still working the way it's supposed to. All right. No matter if you're connected or not. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's black. I got to fix that. Okay. Well, these programs work without them being connected to your body. All right. And still giving the shielding or the defense mechanism that program was designed for. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint, folks. Go ahead and connect the electrodes. You can connect the electrodes doing the bioenergetic defense program, and you're going to get a white indicator. You're also going to feel the current flow through your body. So you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just know that it works the other way as well. Okay. All right.
So Tanya posed a pretty interesting question here. So we talked earlier about the different metals inside the body. So she's talking about, will the Healy interfere with magnets? Some people wear magnets on their clothes. Okay. So if you have, like, I know bank tellers and different people, they have the little name tags that have the magnet on it. Right. And then of course there are other magnets that people can wear for different things that they're wanting those magnets to do for the body. What is your take on if it's on the outside, not on the inside of the body, like on the clothes?
Yeah. So magnetic energy, let's kind of break down the body a little bit. The body is a hydrated organism of not just water, but also mineral content. So what makes the body conductive is the water content and the minerals in the body. Makes it conductive. In other words, what that means, it can conduct electricity. And we know that if we put our finger in a light socket, zap, we feel it. Okay, so this is where Healy is interacting. It's interacting with the water and the conductivity of the body. Now, understand that any conductor, okay, because I'm talking about the body's a conductor now. And we can look at it as maybe an antenna, like an antenna on your car, an antenna anywhere. What's the job of an antenna? The job of an antenna is to receive magnetic information and transduce it into current flow so it can be decoded by whatever the antenna is connected to. Let me repeat that. An antenna is a transducer that changes magnetic waves into current flow that whatever the antenna is connected to can decode. So in other words, the car radio, your antenna is connected to the car radio. The magnetic waves that a transmission station, FM station, AM station, whatever is sending from way across town, those waves are moving through the air in what's called an EMF, or electromagnetic force. And they impact that antenna, and that magnetic energy is transduced into current flow. That current flow has information on it, the information that the radio station sent. Now your radio decodes all that, okay, and then plays your favorite song, whatever you've tuned into. The body works exactly the same way. So any magnet you put on the body, sends a very specific frequency. The magnets, the fixed magnets that you put on the body, have a set frequency. They don't oscillate. They don't change. They're set. They send out magnetic energy at the same frequency. And then that has certain benefits because it sends the magnetic energy into the body. The body transduces it AKA the antenna, converts it into current flow, which then sends information through the nervous system or the tissues and organs and cells within the proximity of that magnet. The information is transduced from magnetic energy to current flow, electron energy. And then the body receives its benefit, whatever the frequency of it is. So Healy's doing the same thing. And when you're connected via the wristbands or the sticky pads, that information is going from cell to cell through the water system of your body, the antenna of their body. It's not magnetic energy going through, it's current flow. Remember, it's the magnetic energy that's transduced into current flow. Healy already does that for you. It changes it when you're connected via the wristbands or the sticky pads. Now you have the electron flow into the body. So if you have magnets anywhere, the magnets are simply just adding to whatever the information the body's receiving, whether it be the name tag that's being held on by a magnet or specific magnets you're wearing for certain therapies. Okay. So does that help anybody?
For sure.
I think
Understanding the principles of how energy moves, I think helps us to understand how our body is handling it, right? Okay. What else we got?
So, oh, sorry, I had to go back up here.
I like this comment in here. It's that Stacy got some feedback from someone who used the coil and wrapped it inside of her knee wrap, and then got amazing results with using. Again, what are we doing there? We're taking the Healy current flow. The coil is changing it into a electromagnetic field, like the radio station, transmitting that signal out into the airwaves. And what's receiving it? The antenna. What's the antenna? The leg, the knee is the antenna receiving that magnetic signal, and it's transducing a current flow into the body, into the water of the cell structure. And what's on that current flow is the information of the frequencies. Brilliant, if you ask me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
yes,
For sure.
sir.
So we got a question here. Miguel already answered it in the chat. I was just asking him, but somebody had a subscription that runs through the 28th of this month, and I wanted to know if they cancel it now, will it stay active until the end of the subscription date, or should they wait until the 28th? So if you've already been billed for it and you cancel it today, but it doesn't end until the 28th, it stays active until the 28th. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, you don't need to time it to where it's right on the last day of your actual billing period. So just want to heads up there. I don't think that question's been asked on this call recently or before. So
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, very good to know. So here's a question coming in from Heather on an iPhone. And it's an interesting question because I dealt with this, or was trying to deal with it today. So she's saying, I was on here last Tuesday. I'm still not able to sync my Healy to my new iPhone 13. It imports the master key, extracts the data, but then it gets stuck on the sync at 10% and downloading the list for about 6 to 8 hours. I've tried uninstalling the Blue app, reinstalling, restarting the phone, hard reset the Healy, used another iPhone 13, same issue. I had that happen today. Somebody actually had 3 iPads and a phone, and we had the same issue. And it was one older iPad and one newer. So we got the issue resolved on the older iPad, but on the 13s, that's a to be continued story tomorrow with that individual because they had to scamper off to work. Any input over here, Keith? I know you have iPhone, I do too.
I have an iPhone 13, and I have not ever had any issues at all, actually, with any of my Healy devices. So
Right.
everything's still running on my original Healy, original cables, original wristbands, everything from 14 months ago. But Yeah, I know Miguel reached out to her in the chat and asked her to open up a support ticket for this particular issue so we can take a look at it. It could be a cloud issue that we might need to fix internally for her specific account. But
Another thing to consider is what are the common denominators? So we have different iPhones. But what's the common denominator? What are all of those iPhones utilizing as their data transport system? They're all going to be the same. All right. What's the data transport system? So whether it be the Wi-Fi that all three of those iPhones are connected to, or the LTE network or their cellular data network, is still the same entity for all three of those. So we have to look at the common denominators. Of course, the account that the person has is a common denominator. The Healy is a common denominator. But if you're able to connect and run, say, the pink dot, then the Healy, the way it connects via the Bluetooth, and you're able to successfully operate in one modality, aka the pink dot, then we have to discount the Bluetooth functionality as part of the problem within the common denominators. Again, I'm an engineer. We got to look at some of these other things. And so one of the most influential parts of that data transfer is the data connection port, whatever it is, whether it be your Wi-Fi or whether it be your cellular data network. If we're trying to use the Wi-Fi, one of the things that's important is that even though you got a full Wi-Fi fan at the top of your screen, you know what I'm saying? Full Wi-Fi fan at the top of the screen, that just means that you have a very good, clear radio signal between the device and the router. Doesn't mean you have data transfer. It does not mean you're getting any data transfer. It just means you've got a great radio signal. Okay, so there's a good connection via wireless connection from that device to your device. Now we need to know, are you getting any data transfer? So sometimes it's necessary to shut your router off and cycle it off and back on to see if there's any updates that need to be happening with your router, and therefore reestablishing connection. So a lot of times, I mean, like Jake said, it's not necessarily the hardware. It's as far as the phone, but what supports that hardware. We have to look at that. So hopefully you guys can, we've talked about that before.
Yeah. And I think too, you made a valid point earlier, Ken, about, the memory, right? That was one of the things we didn't explore. So if your memory is really limited, if you're only 5 or 10% on your memory and you're using multiple devices that's pulling from that signal, that could cause that kind of interference, if you will, from letting that program load properly.
Yeah, and let's look at it. So what Freddie's talking about in terms of memory, every one of our smart devices has a central processing unit, a CPU, and then it also has onboard memory in which it uses to store information temporarily and pull information from, as well as how it allocates all the different locations for the apps. A lot of stuff is done with this memory, similar to the computer, but a bit different. And if it's one memory bank. And so if you've got a ton of pictures, I have like 14,000 pictures on my device, right? And if you have a bunch of videos and you have a bunch of apps, then you better mind how much memory you've got left on your device. I have on my device, I have a 1/4 terabyte of memory on my smart device because I know me. I have a lot of stuff and I know me, so I don't want to run out. Eventually I probably will still, but if you have 16 gigabyte, that's relatively small, especially if you've got, say, a dozen apps and a couple of hundred pictures. Now, all of a sudden, be careful because you're going to wind up being low on the resources, the memory resource that the CPU uses to interface. And then when you're downloading content from the Healy cloud onto the Blue Dot app, folks, have you looked in the database selection? Do you see how much is back there? There's a lot of databases. There's a lot of content which in those databases. And so that's a lot of information being brought onto your smart device. So very important that we monitor that. If, like I mentioned earlier, if your smart device has less than 75% available for its operation, then you need to get rid of stuff. All right. Okay. What else we got? Got about 5 minutes here, folks. I know Sharon was having some struggles getting through. Here's a question saying, is there still a live Thursday call? Our calls are live, but we operate in this type of forum, chat based. And then we utilize, again, the customer service agent that's on here. So
this Tuesday call, Tech Tip Tuesday, is every Thursday. The Healy for Beginners and Beyond, or the Tech Tip Tuesday on Tuesday, Healy for Beginners and Beyond on Thursdays. We did that for around 3 or 4 months in a row every Thursday. And now that we have our YouTube channel, we've taken each of the calls that has unique content, put that on that YouTube page that we posted, HealyAmericas.com. It's all chapters for each of the different sections. And we will continue to do that call typically once or twice a month when we have new content that's important to share that we can also put on our YouTube page. But that page is available 24/7. But if you want to, for the call where you can ask questions live during the call on the chat, that's this one on Tuesdays. So
this is it, folks. And we're going to keep doing it as long as we can do it. So this is the best place. And I think, I really appreciate you guys, because you really do a great job. And I'm so grateful. Of course, we don't get everything done, but that's why we're here every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The question on the coil restock, that's still, it's in production, but it's still with shipping lead times and everything. We're still looking at some time into March, and we'll update as we go on that. But
here's a question.
No big changes. So.
Oh, sorry. Here's a question about, does it hurt to put the Healy in a Faraday bag? Well, no, but what's the purpose of a Faraday bag? It's essentially to negate or to insulate. And so, again, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve? If you're looking at trying to amplify the Healy signal, there are amplification systems that you can use, but what's the purpose? So again, look at it this way. A butterfly flapping its wings in one region of the planet affects airflow in another region of a planet with such small degree, but still influential. So when we're working with frequencies, every frequency that is being sent by any device, by any entity, by any organism, by any anomaly is felt universally. The entire planet is connected. We're a species born, bred, and living on a growing living entity, the earth itself. And so we're influenced by all of its changes and shifts, and we influence it. So the Healy, when it sends out a signal from its noise generator, remember, it's got a small battery, small current, small amount of amplitude, but yet when it's connected to a client via the client record, the client list within the blue dot, the intention and the attention of its transmission is very specific. It's got a GPS signal, a coordinates. Now it's quantum entangled. Do you understand? Quantum entanglement means that to the smallest degree, when two molecules interact, they're forever linked. So you've got a customer record created in a database, and you send signals to that customer record, just like energy healing. All you really need is a picture, a name, just some targeting system. The more information you have, the clearer the targeting system. And Healy will send directly to that spot. That's through the blue dot. That's the information field. It's that precise. Do you need to amplify that signal? No. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We had a couple quick ones here that I can just go through real fast here. At some point, someone asked, if I have to replace my Healy in the future, will I still have access to all the lifetime apps you purchased? Yes, those are lifetime. No matter if you have your Healy for a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, you drop it in the toilet and need a new one, those will be added back to your device as well. So no need to worry on that. Another question, when you purchase additional modules, is it restricted to one Healy and one iPod? So the coaching modules, power, those kind of things it's one per Healy, per serial number. It's not restricted to per smart device. So not necessarily per iPod, just per Healy. You can still use that Healy with multiple devices. You can use it with your iPhone, iPad, whatever. You just need to load the app on each of those smart devices. And for the Analyze app, you would need to import your master key onto each of those devices as well. But it's restricted to the Healy device, not the smart device that you're using. So
yeah. So we're at the end of our hour, guys. Thank you so much. Another quick couple answers here. So if you're making a Healy bag, does the material matter? Well, first of all, your Healy is turned off when you put it in the bag. So Healy's not doing anything when it's in the bag. So if it's hemp, silk, metal, iron, lead, whatever it is, really doesn't matter. It's just, if you're trying to protect the Healy, I love what's in the back office. They've got these awesome Healy cases that has compartments inside for all kinds of stuff. Mine's packed full. I have two of these and they're both packed full. But the point is, those are great cases. They have a metal zipper. But again, the Healy's turned off when you have them in your storage bag and you're transporting them. So the other one is a quick one about, what if you have two percentages on a scan? They're exactly the same. They're equal. They're just as significant, right? They're just as important, right? So it's a simple one. All right, guys, thank you so much for your help. I so much appreciate everybody being here and being able to serve you guys. Freddie and Jake and Miguel in the back. Hey, rock on, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys unmute yourself on the way out, and I'll stop the recording.